In the aftermath of World War II, a team of American scientists faced a daunting realization that would shape the future of military technology. As they meticulously examined a captured German V-2 rocket, they uncovered a chilling truth. The ingenuity of German forces had propelled missile technology decades ahead of their time. This narrative explores the pivotal moments that led to this groundbreaking discovery, weaving together the lives of the scientists who risked everything to understand and transform the power of advanced weaponry. While some characters may be fictionalized, the core of this story is rooted in real events that changed the course of history. Subscribe to our channel to gain access to well-researched facts and rare perspectives on pivotal moments like this. Enjoy clear explanations and regular uploads that will deepen your understanding of history and its ongoing impact. Don't miss out on the stories that shape our world. Join us today. In the spring of 1946, as the dust settled across a war-ravaged Europe, American scientists found themselves grappling with a formidable paradox. Amidst the ruins, the recent conflict had catalyzed unprecedented advancements in technology, yet the remnants of German ingenuity presented an unsettling reality. They had ventured far beyond what the Allies had anticipated. Leading this charge was a group of engineers and scientists at the White Sands Proving Ground in New Mexico, where the first pieces of the German V-2 rocket were methodically examined. The V-2 was not merely a weapon of war. It was a testament to decades of research and development that had unfolded largely under the shadow of conflict. With each fragmented component that was scrutinized, a narrative of ambition, desperation, and ingenuity began to emerge. The V-2 rocket, officially known as the A-4, represented the culmination of German efforts in the field of rocketry, where figures like Werner von Braun had pioneered the foundational principles of modern missile technology. As American scientists peeled back the layers of its complex systems, they encountered innovations that would take years for them to fully understand. From the streamlined design of the rocket's fuselage to the advanced gyroscopic guidance systems, it became increasingly clear that German engineers had tackled problems with a clarity and creativity that had eluded their peers across the Atlantic. What had once been dismissed as enemy technology now demanded respect and admiration, revealing a technological prowess that would shape the very course of the space race to come. Among the American team, Dr. Theodor von Karman, a renowned physicist and aeronautical engineer, stood captivated by the intricate mechanisms. He recalled the early days of rocketry in the United States, when the field was still in its infancy. The discovery of German advancements ignited a fire within him. It illustrated not only the potential for groundbreaking developments, but also a stark warning of the technological gap that America needed to close. With each twist of a wrench and each circuit examined, a sense of urgency took hold. This was not merely a challenge, but a race against time to harness the fruits of a rival nation's labor. As the components of the V-2 rocket were laid bare, the American scientists uncovered elements of design that seemed to anticipate future needs. The rocket's thrust vector control, a method by which trajectory adjustments could be made mid-flight, foreshadowed technologies that would become essential in the ensuing space explorations. The realization that these innovations had been born from a regime that had utilized them for destruction was a bitter irony. U.S. engineers, while hopeful for the future, could not shake the feeling that they were stepping into the footprints of a rival who had pursued technological mastery with relentless fervor. The revelations drew attention not only from military leaders, but also from the academic community, bridging a divided landscape of Cold War sentiments. The space-time continuum, a concept that resided in the theoretical realm, began to merge with practical applications. Scholars recognized that the V-2 represented not a mere weapon, but a gateway to the stars. the American pursuit of rocketry, propelled by the very designs of their erstwhile adversaries, heralded a new frontier that promised both peril and potential. At the heart of this endeavor lay not just survival, but a yearning to secure a position in a future that was being reshaped by the discoveries of the past. In the shadow of the V-2, the collaboration between former enemies started to take form. The integration of German scientists into American projects became a controversial yet necessary step. The atmosphere was charged with a mixture of skepticism and excitement, as the legacy of wartime enmity transformed into a partnership driven by shared aspirations. These German engineers, many of whom had been part of the very machinery of destruction, now found themselves at the center of a vision for exploration and peace. Their expertise was invaluable, but it came burdened with the weight of history. They were not just engineers, but stewards of a complicated past. Throughout this period, American policymakers faced a moral quandary. The decision to utilize German expertise was fraught with implications, echoing in the halls of power, where discussions about morality and necessity collided. Some viewed the collaboration as a betrayal of the values for which the war had been fought, while others recognized it as a pragmatic approach to a rapidly changing world. In the shifting landscape of post-war relations, technology became a new form of currency, one that could either forge alliances or deepen divides. As the first successful tests of the V-2 designs were carried out, they became symbols not only of technical achievement, but of a new era in international relations. The rockets soared through the skies, a reflection of human ingenuity unleashed, yet the haunting specters of their origins lingered in the minds of those who had witnessed the devastation they could unleash. Each successful launch was met with applause, yet it was underlined by a profound awareness of history's complexities, a recognition that progress often comes with a price. The scientists understood that they were standing on a precipice, where the dreams of exploration were inextricably linked to the nightmares of the past. Thus, in the desert expanse of New Mexico, the American scientists began to redefine their purpose. They were no longer just technicians or soldiers of their country. They were pioneers navigating the uncertain waters of a new technological frontier. The rocket's ascent mirrored the aspirations of a nation eager to leave behind the shadows of war while seeking to explore the cosmos. Yet this journey was laden with the lessons of history, urging them to approach their newfound knowledge with caution and respect. The relics of a turbulent past served as reminders that the path forward, while illuminated by the promise of discovery, was fraught with responsibilities that spanned far beyond the horizon. As the dawn of the Cold War cast its long shadow over the world, the United States found itself grappling with a newfound urgency in matters of technology and defense. The capstone moment in this shifting landscape arrived in the summer of 1945, when American scientists, tasked with analyzing the captured German V-2 rocket, uncovered revelations that would propel their nation into the future. The V-2, a technical marvel of its time, served as a testament to the extraordinary capabilities of German forces in rocketry and aerodynamics. Its design was not merely a result of advanced engineering, but an outgrowth of a relentless pursuit of innovation that began well before the war. Among the key figures in this American endeavor was Dr. Werner von Braun, a German engineer who had previously played a pivotal role in the development of the V-2 for German forces. Captured by American troops at the end of the war, von Braun quickly transformed from a target of suspicion to a crucial asset in the U.S. space program. His intimate knowledge of the V-2 allowed American scientists to plunge deeper into the complexities of its design. In doing so, they began to realize that the rocket's potential far exceeded the military applications for which it had originally been conceived. This awakening marked a turning point, as it became clear that the technology could redefine the very concept of exploration and human achievement. As American scientists disassembled the V-2, their hands moved methodically, yet their minds raced ahead. Each component, a fragile tube of steel, a complex guidance system, a combustion chamber, revealed layers of sophistication that had, until then, seemed unfathomable. At the heart of the rocket lay a combination of liquid oxygen and alcohol, a propellant system that not only pushed the V-2 beyond the reaches of gravity, but also symbolized the fusion of scientific knowledge with practical application. This was no mere weapon, it was a harbinger of a new era. A realization washed over the analysts. The Germans had already crossed thresholds that the Americans had only begun to explore. The engineering of the V-2 resonated with meticulous detail. From the initial ignition that harnessed vast energies to the precise guidance that ensured accuracy, each feature was a marvel of human ingenuity. The telemetry system, which provided data in real time, spoke of an understanding that surpassed the rudimentary methods employed in American military applications at the time. The American scientists recognized that they now stood not just at a technological crossroads, but also at a moral one. By embracing such advanced technology, what ethical boundaries would they breach? What consequences would accompany their ambition? The findings from the V-2 analysis rippled through various branches of the U.S. military and scientific communities, igniting a fervent competition against the backdrop of an uneasy peace. Leaders understood that the future of warfare and space exploration hinged on swift mastery of these technologies. Reports of the V-2's capabilities circulated through Pentagon corridors, amplifying anxieties about Soviet advancements and prompting an infusion of resources into American research initiatives. The race for supremacy morphed into a race for survival, as the realities of international tensions forced a stark re-evaluation of priorities. The symbolic importance of the V-2 extended beyond its technological prowess. It emerged as a canvas reflecting a broader societal struggle, a struggle between progress and responsibility. As the U.S. gravitated toward harnessing the power of rocketry, questions about the ethical implications of such advancements loomed large. Would the lessons learned from the V-2 lead to innovations that uplift humanity, or would they merely precipitate a cycle of destruction? The ghosts of the past overshadowed this quest, reminding scientists and military strategists alike of the destructive potential inherent in such technologies. Soon, the heart of American engineering began to pulse with the rhythms of the V-2's legacy. New projects sprang forth, inspired by the captured rocket's design philosophy. The development of the Redstone rocket, which would eventually pave the way for the U.S. space program, bore the unmistakable fingerprints of the V-2. Engineers and scientists, once ensconced in their silos of specialization, began to collaborate in ways that had never been seen before. The urgency fostered by the analysis of the V-2 catalyzed a collective ambition, uniting minds across disparate fields, from physics to engineering to aeronautics, into a singular objective: to not only catch up, but to leap ahead. In homes across America, the unfolding story of the V-2 and its implications seeped into the public consciousness. The imagery of rockets soaring through the sky galvanized a generation, igniting dreams of exploration that spanned beyond Earth. Schools introduced courses in science and mathematics, inspiring children to aspire to the stars. Yet lurking beneath this enthusiasm was a palpable tension, as families wondered whether the advancements they celebrated could once again morph into instruments of warfare, echoing the horrors of the previous decade. The duality of progress, its potential for both creation and destruction, remained a poignant reminder of the responsibilities borne by those who dared to reach for the heavens. As the winter chill settled over the American countryside in late 1945, a team of engineers and scientists gathered at the White Sands Proving Ground in New Mexico to scrutinize the first German V-2 rocket, an artifact of a war that had reshaped the world. Envisioned initially as an act of retribution against enemy cities, the V-2 stood as a testament to a period when science and warfare intertwined so tightly that the two became difficult to separate. Its sleek design and advanced technology left American experts both astounded and apprehensive. Comprehending the significance of the rocket required an understanding of the war itself, a conflict that had thrust technological innovation to the forefront, where every breakthrough could mean the difference between victory and defeat. The V-2 rocket, developed under the guidance of Wernher von Braun and his team, emerged as the first long-range guided ballistic missile. The Americans, who had been pursuing their own rocket programs, quickly realized they were witnessing more than just a weapon. It was a culmination of ideas that had been gestating in the crucible of war. The intricacies of its design revealed a level of sophistication that challenged the US to rethink its own capabilities, raising questions about the future of military technology. Each component, from the innovative gyroscopic guidance system to the advanced fuel used, painted a picture of a relentless quest for precision that was unprecedented for its time. The implications were profound. While American scientists had focused on harnessing rocket technology for the exploration of space, their German counterparts had taken a different path, one steeped in military pragmatism. The V-2's potential for destruction offered a stark warning about the age of conflict that lay ahead. It represented not only an engineering triumph, but also a psychological tool, a harbinger of the firepower that would soon shape global power dynamics. The realization that American forces were behind in this critical area ignited a fervor among researchers and policymakers alike, who understood that the Cold War would demand more than mere adaptability. It would require a bold leap forward. Inside the dimly lit labs at White Sands, the atmosphere buzzed with urgency. Scientists pored over schematics and data, sharing insights that reflected both awe and concern. The V-2's aerodynamic shape, which sliced through the air with a grace that belied its destructive potential, marked a shift in how humanity viewed its creations. It symbolized not just a new age of warfare, but also the existential threat posed by technology itself. In rooms filled with chalkboards and scattered papers, ideas emerged that would eventually fuel the American space race. Yet, with every insight came a nagging question. What other technologies had been developed in secrecy, waiting to be unleashed in the arena of geopolitical conflict? The V-2's impact went beyond military applications. It raised ethical dilemmas that would haunt scientists for decades to come. As America's leading minds dissected the rocket's design, they wrestled internally with the implications of their findings. Would they be tasked with building weapons that could rival the destructive capabilities of the V-2? The specter of moral responsibility loomed large, and discussions spiraled into debates about the nature of progress. The tension between scientific advancement and ethical considerations became palpable, reflecting a broader societal concern that resonated through America's post-war consciousness. In the context of the unfolding Cold War, the V-2 became a focal point of national security discussions. The realization that the German forces had achieved what many in the United States regarded as cutting-edge technology forced military planners to rethink strategies. Surveillance, intelligence gathering, and technological innovation took on new urgency, leading to the establishment of initiatives that would lay the groundwork for future space exploration. This pivot was not merely a response to the rocket itself, but rather a recognition of the shifting tides in global power. The Marshall Plan, with its focus on rebuilding Europe, would also serve to accelerate American technological advancements as investments poured into research and development. All the while, the specter of the German scientists, many of whom would soon be integrated into American projects, hovered over the proceedings. The US government offered asylum to several key figures, recognizing their potential to elevate American capabilities in the burgeoning arms race. These men, weary of the conflict they had once contributed to, now found themselves embroiled in a new mission, leveraging their knowledge to safeguard a nation that had once been their adversary. In this uneasy alliance, the lessons of the past would become tools for the future, both a promise and a peril. As the months progressed and the V-2 program continued to yield insights, the message became clear. American scientists were not merely studying a weapon. They were grappling with a philosophical conundrum that questioned the very nature of human progress. The rocket encapsulated the duality of invention, the ability to heal and harm in equal measure. Conversations expanded beyond the technical aspects of the V-2, encompassing broader themes about the role of technology in society and the responsibilities that come with innovation. The urgency to understand and control these new technologies was underscored by the fear that they could fall into the wrong hands. Ultimately, the exploration of the V-2 marked a turning point, not just in American missile technology, but in the very fabric of post-war society. It catalyzed a race that would push boundaries for decades to come, as concepts once confined to science fiction became a reality. The rocket's legacy would reverberate through history, reminding future generations that with every leap forward in technology comes the imperative to navigate the ethical terrain that accompanies it. The engineers and scientists at White Sands were not just unlocking the secrets of the V-2, they were embarking on a journey into the uncertain future, one where the balance between innovation and responsibility would shape the world. As the dust settled in the wake of World War II, the remnants of Germany's ambitious missile program began to take shape in the minds of American scientists and military strategists. The V-2 rocket, which had once terrorized London and other targets, was now a pawn in a larger game of geopolitics and scientific exploration. The American team, comprised of engineers and physicists such as Wernher von Braun and his colleagues, stood before the dismantled V-2, its sleek, elongated form a testament to the ingenuity that had been harnessed in service of a devastating war. In this moment of reflection, the stark reality emerged. While the Allies had fought to preserve freedom, the German forces had invested heavily in technologies that pushed the boundaries of what was possible in rocketry. As the team meticulously examined the V-2, they uncovered layers of technological sophistication that they had not anticipated. The engineers noted the advanced gyroscopic stabilization system, which allowed for unprecedented precision in flight. This was not merely a weapon, it was a harbinger of the space age. Each component bore the hallmark of an era of rigorous experimentation, revealing a depth of understanding in aerodynamics and propulsion that was unsettling to the American scientists. They had entered a domain where their own efforts, still nascent, were dwarfed by the innovations that had been conceived in the crucible of war. The realization that Germany had achieved such technological prowess ignited a sense of urgency among the American team. They recognized that the implications of this knowledge could go far beyond military applications. It was about the future of mankind and the exploration of the cosmos. The hope of conquering space was intertwined with the knowledge that they were now in a race, not just against time, but against the innovations that had been forged in the fires of conflict. This served as both a motivational catalyst and a sobering reminder of the stakes involved. With each new discovery, the team weighed the moral responsibilities that came with wielding such power. The V-2's rocket engine, a marvel of combustion technology, was another revelation. The scientists found themselves captivated by the complexities of its design, which utilized a mix of alcohol and liquid oxygen. In their analysis, they recognized not only the engineering brilliance, but also the potential for further development. This realization underscored the shift in the narrative surrounding post-war technology. What was once a symbol of destruction was now a cornerstone for future exploration. The duality of the V-2, both a weapon of war and an instrument of human aspiration, became a profound symbol of the paradox that lay at the intersection of science and morality. Amidst the technical dissection, the American team grappled with the ethical implications of their findings. The scientists found themselves pondering the legacy of the technologies they were now inheriting, the very same technologies that had played a key role in wartime devastation. Each breakthrough in rocketry was shadowed by the memory of the destruction it had wrought. Yet they understood that the knowledge they gained from the V-2 could also pave the way for advancements in satellite technology and eventual manned space travel. It was a tightrope walk between embracing innovation and confronting its darker legacy. As the engineers worked tirelessly, a palpable tension grew within the group. The competitive spirit that fueled their desire to advance American technology was countered by a lingering humility born from their new understanding of the German achievements. The scientists began to realize that the lessons gleaned from the V-2 were not merely technical, but also philosophical. What did it mean to harness the power of flight? To seek the stars while being haunted by the knowledge of how that power had once been wielded? This introspection bore heavily on the minds of those who stood on the precipice of a new era. The American team also understood that their exploration of the V-2 was just the beginning of a broader inquiry into the depths of its implications. If the Germans had achieved these breakthroughs in the context of war, what could be accomplished in a climate of peace? The task ahead was not simply to replicate these technologies, but to recontextualize them, to ask the difficult questions of purpose and intent. This became a call not only to action, but to responsibility, underscoring the notion that future advancements must be guided by ethical considerations learned from the past. As the team delved deeper into their work, the collaborative spirit emerged as a unifying force. The shared goal of advancing rocket technology overshadowed the individual accolades that might have once driven them apart. Engineers and scientists, once competitors in their respective fields, now found themselves together in a mission that transcended personal ambition. This camaraderie symbolized a collective hope, a hope that through understanding and innovation they could forge a path toward a future free from the specter of war. By the time the last components of the V-2 were catalogued and examined, the American scientists stood at a crossroads. The technical knowledge they had gleaned called for action, yet it also demanded reflection. They had unearthed a profound legacy in that rocket, one that would influence generations to come. As they contemplated the future of rocketry and space exploration, the echoes of their predecessors resounded in their minds, reminding them that the pursuit of knowledge is often fraught with ethical implications. In this intricate dance of science and morality, the lessons of the V-2 would resonate far beyond its destructive past, serving as a pivotal moment in humanity's quest for the stars. As the American scientists gathered around the newly unveiled V-2 rocket in a hastily converted hangar in the aftermath of the conflict, a palpable sense of urgency filled the room. The rocket, a sleek assemblage of metal and a testament to engineering prowess, stood as both a marvel and an enigma. They had seen photographs and heard whispered rumors about the advances of German forces, but witnessing the craftsmanship firsthand was altogether different. Each curve of the rocket's body hinted at the advanced aerodynamics that had been honed through meticulous research and experimentation. The realization loomed over them. The implications of this discovery could alter the trajectory of the post-war world. The scientists, drawn from diverse fields of expertise, began by examining the propulsion system. Their eyes widened as they deciphered the complexities of the liquid fuel components, which utilized a mixture of ethanol and liquid oxygen. This concoction, they soon learned, provided not only power, but also precision in trajectory control, a stark contrast to the solid fuel rockets that had dominated American efforts thus far. Collaboratively, they crafted diagrams and calculations, tracing the mathematics that underpinned the impressive specifications of the V-2. With each equation, it dawned on them that German engineers had not merely been working ahead of their time. They had set the groundwork for a new era of rocket technology. One of the scientists, Dr. William H. Pickering, recalled the pre-war discussions about the potential of rocketry in military applications. His mind raced with the possibilities that the V-2 represented, not just in the realm of warfare, but for scientific advancement as well. He envisioned the implications of long-range missiles not only as weapons, but also as platforms for exploration. He argued passionately that understanding this technology could lead to breakthroughs in space travel. Yet, for every hope he harbored, there was an accompanying dread. The world had seen the devastation wrought by such innovations, and it was hard to ignore the potential for misuse. Amid the technical discussions, there lingered a quiet tension within the group. As they dissected the rocket's components, they could not shake the reality that their most formidable adversary had already achieved what many believed to be the stuff of dreams. The engineers had designed an automatic guidance system that incorporated gyroscopes for stabilization and an innovative control mechanism that would later influence American designs. This was not merely an achievement of engineering, it was a testament to the intellectual fervor and ambition of a nation under immense strain. The eerie realization that German forces had achieved such advancements during a time of conflict heightened the urgency for the Americans, pushing them to accelerate their own developments. As each layer of the V-2 was peeled back, they uncovered secrets that would reshape their understanding of velocity and aerodynamics. The scientists were astounded by the use of lightweight materials and the precision engineering that allowed the rocket to reach altitudes of over 180 kilometers. The intricate interplay of physics, chemistry, and material science danced before their eyes, revealing both the genius and the desperation behind its creation. It was a duality that echoed throughout history, the relentless march of progress often shadowed by the ghosts of ethical dilemmas and moral ambiguity. The deeper they delved, the more it became evident that the V-2 was emblematic of a broader German scientific endeavor. It represented not merely an advancement in weaponry, but a philosophy of innovation forged in the crucible of adversity. The scientists could not ignore the need for speed. They were racing against time to harness this newfound knowledge before other nations could seize it for themselves. This urgency was compounded by the geopolitical landscape that was shifting beneath their feet as alliances formed and fractured in the wake of the war's end. The specter of the Cold War began to loom, hinting at a future where such technology could be wielded not just in conflict, but in a global contest for supremacy in the heavens. In the ensuing weeks, the team worked tirelessly, replicating key elements of the V-2's design in their laboratories. They faced setbacks and challenges, grappling with the complexities of the technology while striving to maintain American ingenuity. It became a race against time, one that demanded not just intellect, but also a certain audacity to push the boundaries of what they understood. The pressure mounted, and the spirit of competition ignited their aspirations. Yet amid the fervor, a deeper reflection began to emerge concerning the moral implications of their work. Would their pursuit of knowledge lead to a greater good, or would it perpetuate a cycle of destruction? As they gathered for meetings filled with fervent discussions, the scientists contemplated the legacy they were about to inherit. The V-2 was not just a weapon, it was a harbinger of future possibilities and dangers. Its creators had envisioned a world transformed by technology, yet that very vision had also led to widespread devastation. Each breakthrough they achieved breathed life into ideas, while simultaneously raising haunting questions about responsibility and ethics. In those quiet moments of contemplation, they came to understand that the power of their work would not be defined solely by technical achievements, but by the choices they would ultimately make. Thus, as the cold days of winter turned to the uncertain warmth of spring, the American scientists stood on the brink of a new frontier. The V-2 had opened their eyes, inviting them into a dialogue that traversed the boundaries of intellect, morality, and ambition. The future lay before them, rife with possibility, yet shadowed by the lessons of the past. And with each passing day, the echoes of the work carried out in that hangar hinted at a reality that would shape the contours of the ensuing decades. A reality where the heavens would beckon yet again, urging humanity to reach ever higher. As American scientists gathered around the remnants of the V-2 rocket, their initial awe transformed into a profound sense of urgency. The fuselage lay partially disassembled, revealing layers of engineering that seemed to defy the conventional wisdom of the time. The intricate design of the engine, the complex guidance systems, and the use of lightweight materials spoke to an advanced understanding of aerodynamics and propulsion, far surpassing the prevailing American technologies. The scientists exchanged grim glances, recognizing that the war might have ended, but their technological race had just begun. Among those examining the rocket was Dr. Theodor von Karman, a Hungarian-American engineer who had fled to the United States to escape the turmoil in Europe. His expertise in aerodynamics led him to appreciate the V-2's design intricacies, sparking a realization that was almost visceral. Von Karman understood that the German forces had been driven by a relentless pursuit of scientific advancement, motivated in part by a desire to secure aerial supremacy. The V-2's successful launches had not simply been military triumphs, but also monumental milestones in engineering that would shape the future of rocketry. As the days unfolded, discussions among the scientists entered a new phase. They began to analyze the implications of the V-2's technology, considering its potential applications. The German forces had employed their rocket in warfare, but its true nature was far more than a weapon. It embodied a convergence of science, ambition, and the darker undercurrents of its time. Dr. Werner von Braun, a leading figure in the V-2 program, had once described the rocket as a tool for exploration, a sentiment that resonated with American aspirations for the future of space travel. Yet the specter of its military use lingered ominously, challenging the ethical boundaries of scientific pursuit. By late 1945, the Cold War began to cast its shadow over the achievements of these scientists. They were acutely aware that the technologies they were beginning to grasp would soon serve not only as the foundation for exploration, but also as instruments of power in the geopolitical landscape. The trajectory of the V-2, designed to soar above the clouds, now seemed poised to plunge humanity into a new era of tension and rivalry. The realization that Germany's advancements were rooted in a militaristic agenda posed a dilemma. How could they harness this knowledge for peaceful purposes while mitigating the darker impulses of human ambition? Research and development efforts accelerated, mirroring the fervor of those who had designed the V-2. The American scientists integrated lessons learned from the German designs, applying them to their own projects. Rocketry became a symbol of hope, yet it also represented an implicit acknowledgement of the global power dynamics shifting beneath their feet. As the US government sought to secure its position in this new world order, the scientific community wrestled with the duality of their discoveries. The V-2 was more than a relic. It had become a harbinger of what lay ahead, a bridge between the aspirations of humanity and the technologies that could either uplift or destroy. Without a doubt, some of the scientists recognized the necessity of transparency in their endeavors. They began to call for international cooperation in the realm of space exploration, urging the same collaborative spirit that had fueled their own breakthroughs. However, the geopolitical climate rendered such sentiments fraught with complexity. The V-2, once a symbol of German innovation, now exemplified the tensions that could arise from scientific advancement. The chasm between nations threatened to overshadow the potential for collective progress, as national pride and security concerns began to overshadow the dream of transcending earthly boundaries. In the months following the war, the American military and governmental agencies scrambled to secure their own positions in missile technology. Operations Paperclip and similar initiatives sought to recruit German engineers who had played pivotal roles in the V-2 program. These individuals would be instrumental in shaping the American trajectory in rocketry, yet their integration into American society was fraught with complications. Many faced skepticism and resentment as the shadow of their past lingered, complicating the narrative of progress and innovation that America wished to project. As the remnants of the V-2 were meticulously studied, a palpable tension emerged among the scientists. Some began to question what it truly meant to engage with this technology. The German forces had viewed the V-2 through a lens of dominance, while the American perspective increasingly leaned toward exploration and advancements in space. However, the symbolic weight of the V-2 remained, an echo of both human ingenuity and the dangers of unbridled ambition. Each bolt and wire tucked within the rocket served as a reminder that innovation could chart a path, yet it could also lead to destruction if guided by the wrong hands. In the end, the American scientists recognized that their endeavor to comprehend and advance upon the German technology would require a philosophical shift. They stood on the precipice of a new age, aware that the future of rocketry, and indeed of humanity, was intertwined with choices that transcended mere scientific exploration. As they delved into the legacy of the V-2, they faced an indelible truth. The quest for knowledge must coexist with a commitment to ethics and a shared vision of peace, lest history repeat its darker chapters. The task ahead demanded not only technical prowess, but also a deep understanding of the moral imperatives that must guide their way forward. As the American engineers gathered around the V-2 rocket, their initial excitement gradually transformed into a profound concern about the implications of what lay before them. The sleek shape of the rocket, with its spindly fins and gleaming exterior, was captivating, but it was the technology within that ignited unease among the scientists. This was not merely an advanced weapon, it was a harbinger of a new era in warfare, one that required a reassessment of strategic priorities. The knowledge gained from the V-2 could very well alter the balance of power in the world, a realization that dawned on them as they meticulously examined its components. Among the first observations was the innovative propulsion system, a liquid fuel engine that propelled the V-2 to heights previously thought unattainable for military missiles. As the engineers dissected the intricate plumbing and combustion chambers, they recognized that Germany had moved beyond the era of solid fuel weapons and had stumbled upon a synthesis of chemistry and physics that the American military had yet to harness effectively. The implications were staggering. Not only did this technology promise greater range, but it also allowed for the possibility of more precise strikes, a concept that many strategists in the United States had only begun to dream of. The discussions that ensued in the days following the initial examination were characterized by a mix of admiration and anxiety. The American scientists debated the ethics of accelerating their own missile development in response to this newfound knowledge. They recognized that simply rushing to catch up could yield hasty mistakes and unintended consequences. Yet the specter of a well-equipped enemy wielding this sophisticated technology weighed heavily on their minds. The morale of the American military depended on maintaining the upper hand, and now they were confronted with the chilling realization that they might not be as far ahead as they had believed. Dr. Theodor von Kármán, a Hungarian-American physicist and aerodynamics expert who would play an influential role in the post-war jet propulsion research, emerged as a pivotal figure during these discussions. His understanding of rocketry and engineering principles allowed him to synthesize the existing American efforts with what the team uncovered from the V-2. He argued persuasively that the United States must not only catch up with German advancements, but also leapfrog them by integrating multidisciplinary approaches, incorporating not just aerospace engineering, but also insights from other fields such as materials science and electronics. His vision for an innovative aerospace program resonated with many, and set the stage for a collaborative environment among the scientists. As the team's work continued, they encountered a broader cultural question. What did it mean for America to adopt such advanced weaponry? The V-2 had been a symbol of obsessive ambition in the hands of its creators. It was a tool of destruction, and along with admiration for the engineering, there was a palpable discomfort about the moral ramifications of harnessing such power. The memory of devastation in Europe lingered in the consciousness of the scientists. They found themselves caught in a moral quandary, fearing that mastery over the V-2 might lead to an arms race that would escalate conflicts rather than resolve them. To confront these ethical dilemmas, a series of informal symposiums were organized, bringing together scientists, military officials, and policymakers. These gatherings fostered dialogues not only about the technical aspects of the V-2, but also its implications for global peace and security. At times, tensions flared between scientists committed to research and those advocating for diplomatic solutions. While some contended that technological supremacy would ultimately maintain peace, others warned that it could also ignite new conflicts. The debates reflected the broader national discourse on how to reconcile scientific advancement with societal responsibility. In the wake of these discussions, the American military established the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California, marking the formal commitment to advancing missile technology. This new institution symbolized a shift. No longer were American scientists simply reactive, they were now proactive. They sought to combine the lessons learned from the V-2 with their own ideas, which led to the development of the Redstone rocket and subsequently the Mercury spacecraft. These innovations would lay the groundwork for America's eventual triumph in the space race, demonstrating that the influence of this seemingly dark episode could ultimately have an optimistic outcome. As the first successful test launches of American missiles took place, a bittersweet awareness permeated the air among the scientists. They had successfully drawn upon lessons from the V-2, channeling German ingenuity into their own technological advancements. Yet they could not shake the feeling that each launch was a reminder of the cost at which this knowledge came. The specter of war still loomed large over the world, and the capacity for destruction loomed ever larger with every successful flight. Ultimately, the legacy of the V-2 transcended the boundaries of weaponry and entered the realm of exploration and discovery. What had begun as a symbol of military might evolved into a catalyst for scientific inquiry, leading to incredible achievements in space travel. The American response to the V-2 embodied a transformation, one that mirrored the complexities of the post-war era, a pursuit of knowledge tempered by the remembrance of its darker applications. The memory of the V-2 rocket thus served as both a warning and a beacon, urging future generations to navigate the dual-edged sword of technology with wisdom and caution. The discovery of the German V-2 rocket marked a pivotal moment in the annals of technological advancement and military strategy, forcing American scientists and military leaders to confront the reality of a burgeoning arms race that would shape the trajectory of the Cold War and beyond. As they stood before the remnants of a technology that had been developed under the pressures of war, a profound responsibility weighed upon them. They recognized that the very innovations that could safeguard nations could just as easily bring about unprecedented destruction. This moment served not only as an awakening to the sophistication of their adversaries, but also as a haunting reflection on the moral implications of scientific progress. The lessons learned from this encounter resonate through time, urging contemporary society to consider the dual-edged nature of innovation. A potent reminder that the pursuit of knowledge must always be accompanied by ethical contemplation. As we grapple with the advancements of today, it is essential to remember the past, acknowledging that technology, while a tool for advancement, carries the potential for profound consequences, challenging each generation to wield it with wisdom and foresight.